Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks again for coming together this morning, just so we can give you an update. My comments will be relatively brief today. We're going to turn this over to our strategic planning group, led by Lacie Madison, to give you some updates on the progress that we've made in that area. I'm going to start, as I always do, by recognizing members of our team and the impact that they've had in receiving grants. So since we met last time, we've had 3 new grants come in, one for Ms. Samara, and she's, of course, very productive always in achieving these grants. Dr. Rauda also, and then Janet Raber for bringing in dollars to support our SOAR clinic. So a big congratulations to all of them. We thank you for all of your efforts and the work that you do here at the university. I also want to recognize Elaine Garigian, who's been a member of our team here at NEOMED and is going to be irreplaceable. I think all of you know that she works in our Marcom office. She has been the driving force behind our Ignite magazine, and she is retiring at the end of this month, and we wish her well. So thank you very much, Elaine. I'm also excited to tell you that we have a new member of our team who's going to be joining us on June 20th. Her name is Doreen Riley. She'll be the new Vice President for Institutional Advancement. She is joining us from John Carroll University, where her efforts really took them from $100 million a year endowment to $300 million a year. So we're expecting big things from her as we help to raise funds for the university to grow our programming. And I ask that when she does join us, that you can all welcome her when you see her on campus. I think she's going to be a great member of our team. We'll be beginning our College of Medicine Dean search shortly. We have signed a contract with a recruiting firm. This will be a national level search. We'll have multiple members of the team on our committee to help us select our next dean. I do want to thank Dr. Young again for all of her work. She spent about 5 years with us as a College of Medicine dean before heading on to a well-deserved retirement, especially for her efforts in getting us through LCME. HLC is our next big focus here at the university. Higher Learning Commission is our big accreditation body, while LCME is for the College of Medicine, ACPE is for the College of Pharmacy, and now ARC-AA is who we use in the College of Graduate Studies for the CAA program. HLC is the big accreditation body for the university. I want to thank the leadership team who's been putting so much work into this, led by Dr. Kasmer, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jeff Winstrup, and of course, Deb Loyette, for helping to put us in a good position. I'm not mentioning all the many names who are working hard on this, and I hear that a lot of work is going on across the enterprise. I've also been told by Dr. Kasmer that we're going to be in a good position. There are things we're tuning up, but overall, the university is in a good spot and that we should be able to get through this program without any real difficulty. We're expecting our visit to come in about mid-September. This is an important visit for us. They may come through and spend time speaking to individuals here on campus, but I feel pretty confident from what I'm hearing that we'll be in good shape. We're also finishing up our College of Medicine chair search for anatomy and neurobiology. We hope that we'll have somebody selected soon. That's being run by Dr. Eugene Mawed, as he is our interim dean for the College of Medicine. We're having a homecoming event for our alumni on the 21st of May. That has changed a little bit. This is still a difficult time as people are getting more and more comfortable with travel. So we've modified it so that some of the initial planned events on that Friday have been changed. And now we will be limiting it to our alumni meeting as well as an alumni awards banquet. I believe we have over 60 already signed up for that. We're hoping that more attend. It should be a great opportunity for us to be able to recognize the alumni who've done so much for this university and who represented what this university stands for. Zero-based budgeting process is, from my standpoint, pretty much over. I will tell you that is not what some of our other members of our team would tell you, because they're going through the process of really putting all the numbers in place for us. So I do want to thank Jackie Kovac, Marilyn Ward, and of course, Mary Taylor for helping us through that process. I know all of you went through a great deal of work and effort on that, but these three sat in a room with me more hours than they probably care to talk about as we went through the process of understanding what the budget should look like for next year so that we're further resourcing you. The intent of our process with zero-based budgeting is last year we started it, and we're going to look for incremental growth to get us to where we would like to be, where we need to be for best running this university. It's unfortunately, we can't do it all in 1 year, but it will get there. And you're going to see that the proposal we're giving to the Board of Trustees for review and consideration to approve the budget we put together will include over $2.5 million in new revenue. And through the work of so many members of this organization using tools like Lean Six Sigma, we were able to bring back about $2 million more that was being spent on things that were just not part of who we were, including spending money on banks for bonds that were really quite significant in size. Those dollars have been returned to the budget to get out to you for running operations. And overall, the budget we're going to propose to the Board of Trustees will be close to $4.9 million more than last year. Now that's being allocated out based on need and growth. But the good news is there's more resources that are coming out potentially. Of course, I don't want to get ahead of myself. The Board of Trustees has the fiduciary responsibility at the university to ensure that what we're proposing is in the best interest of this university. That will be decided on the June 9th meeting, so we'll be able to share more details after that. That will include a proposal for faculty and staff compensation changes. I also want to thank everybody who's helped us with the new faculty empowerment plan, which is our alternate compensation plan for our faculty members. It seems to be going very well. We've been learning from our first year, and now this coming year, we'll do a full opportunity across all three ranks and all colleges to do one last pilot year as we shake out bugs. And there's always things that were not intended in the design that we learned from. One of those, in fact, had to do with how the federal granting agencies compensate and understand what institutional-based budget or institutional-based salary is. So thank you to Mary and her team for helping us work through that also. Commencement is just a short time away from us, May 7th. It should be wonderful to finally be in place for an in-person commencement. I will tell you, after 2.5 years, this is my very first in-person commencement at this institution because we're just emerging, we hope, long-term out of this pandemic. I encourage you all to come and attend and to celebrate the wonderful progress of our students as they've migrated from beginning to end out of this university, where they can go out and start to have big impact for our communities. When we bring in new students, the goal is always to get them all across that stage. So this is really an important day for them and an important day for all of us. Faculty and staff, all of you have had major impact on our students. Some of you developed really special bonds and relationships with them. And for you to be able to come and to celebrate and to watch their achievements is really the culmination of everything that we do. And what it is meant to be NEOMED is really getting these students through. And finally, before I turn the microphone over, I do want to share that we've spent a great deal of time trying to make our strategic plan meaningful and really have impact at this university. It's too easy to go through one of these processes and say, this is who we are and who we want to be, and then to put it up on the wall behind you and say, here's our strategic plan, and not actually do anything. I would argue most organizations do that. We have not allowed that to happen. Our strategic plan was approved by our Board of Trustees only about 18 months ago. And through your work, effort, and diligence, and really the leadership of Lacie Madison, we've made outstanding progress. We are so far ahead of where we thought we would be at this point in time. I really can't thank her and her team enough for helping to lead the way. And the $1 million that we allocated for strategic initiatives, that's been under the control of that office, but really under your control, because we've asked you to say, what would you do with the money to get us where we want to go? Put programming together. And then we have a whole team from across the university that's helping to allocate those dollars. It's not me, it's not the leadership team at the executive level. It's really us across the organization that's controlling this funds flow. And she's going to share with you some of the work that we've accomplished today. So I will open it briefly for questions, and then I'm going to turn it over. Any questions from the audience? No. And it looks like we have nothing online. So without further ado, Lacie, please come up and take over.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so as we know, our mission is about diversity. It is about innovation, collaboration, everything that we do, creating transformational leaders to promote education, discovery, and service. That's what we do. And so I'm so excited to share with you, like Dr. Langell indicated, where we are in our plan and where we are in our progress. We are ahead of schedule. We're about 35% of the way complete, with the rest of our strategic initiatives and action plans being reviewed, and they are mapped out to happen over the course of the length of our strategic plan. We're doing great work. We're really excited to share that with you. And instead of taking this time to show you graphs and charts and all of that stuff, we like to have folks come and talk about the impact of how we are, how we're working, how we're living, and how folks, all of our stakeholders are receiving the work that we're doing. So we're really excited. We have a great lineup to share with you today, but a couple of points that I will share. One of our major initiatives, diversity, equity, and inclusion in terms of enrollment and hiring practices. Our enrollment is looking to be on schedule, ahead of schedule, where our diversity numbers that we achieved last year, we're actually mirroring and on the same path. So we're really excited about the work that we're doing and in the incoming classes over the next couple of years. Our Dr. Langell already talked about our financial impact and using our Lean Six Sigma operational model and principles to make a difference on our finances so that we are distributing our money appropriately and we're still able to have a huge impact and improve our processes. There's a lot of work to be done. We all know that, you know, there's always room for improvement. That's why it's called continuous quality improvement. So, but we're really going to be expanding the operational excellence work that we're doing in the work moving forward. We're really excited to share with you this strategic plan. Sam Bliss and I, who's the manager for the strategic initiatives, she and I are going to be making our rounds. We've already talked to the College of Pharmacy to share our dashboard that, that we have kicked off. It is public. I'm not going to spend the time here to talk about it. I'm going to come and talk to your departments and divisions instead, but you can find it on the NEOMED, NEOMED/strategic plan website. Click on the dashboard and you can explore all of the different metrics and visuals that we do have out public facing now, and it's always changing. It's a dynamic model. So our platform and dashboard, it should reflect the work that we update on a quarterly basis. For those of you who have updated into the platform, thank you for that. There's another round coming due in the next week or so. So thank you so much for that. 35% progress done. We want to hear about the stories of the work that's that folks are really doing and are a strategic focus for us. So today you're going to hear from Sanjay Jinka, who's an exceptional student. He's going to talk to us about his experience here and the leadership opportunities that have given him the opportunity to lead some amazing organizations, make an impact, and have an incredible experience here at NEOMED. You're going to hear from Dr. Rachel Bracken, who's an assistant professor, who's going to talk about identifying a gap in education related to disabilities, and how if we truly are looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion, inclusion means more than, it's not just about race, religion. There are other groups that are vulnerable, and we need to do a better job of understanding how to best serve those communities. We're going to hear from Drs. Welton and Natalie Bonfine, who are going to talk about our revised and reimagined community health research focus area, how it's now about health services research. They're going to talk to us about the impact of looking at big data, data population, and how that intersects with primary and mental health care. And we're going to hear from Dr. Kasmers and our own Janelle Kolner on many opportunities for faculty development. So really showing the work that we're doing and how that's really what's driving our mission. The graphs and the charts are beautiful, and nobody loves that more than me. If you know anything about me, I love me an Excel sheet and a visual, but it's really about the impact. That's why we're here. So I'd like to introduce Sanjay Jinka. Sanjay has so many titles, a couple of them: third-year medical student, member of board of trustees. So he has a governor appointed membership and sits on the board. President of Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society, member of the Virtuous Healer Society, and CEO of the Student Run Free Clinic. In his free time, he's also a medical student. So Sanjay, will you come share with us your experience here at NEOMED?
Thanks, Lacie. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Lacie, for that really nice introduction. Really appreciate it. As she said, I'm Sanjay Jinka. I'm a third-year medical student here in NEOMED. And as she said, I have a number of roles here. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is my role as the CEO of the Student Run Free Clinic and my experience in the free clinic in general. So my experience started out in September of M1 year. So this is all the way back in 2019. So for those of you who don't know, the way the clinic works, so we have clinic every Saturday. It's traditionally student run, but there are attending physicians there and attending pharmacists to make sure that we're providing quality medical care, and they still see the patients with us. But usually the students see the patients first. So on this day, me and another student were tasked with seeing a patient with chest pain. Now, as an early M1, chest pain is one of the scariest things you can see, because in my mind, it's a heart attack, and that's a scary thing to deal with. So me and the other student did a detailed workup. We went and presented it to Dr. Paul Lacaw. I don't know if Dr. Lacaw is here today, but he's heard this story before. So what we did is we were telling Dr. Lacaw all about this patient, and he realized within a few minutes that what we were dealing with here was really not a cardiac manifestation, but rather a psychosocial one. He figured the patient was actually dealing with panic disorder related to some issues at home. So he went back into the room, and with us there, he led the interview. It was amazing seeing him work. He asked the patient about her family life at home, her financial issues, and other stressors. After about 30 minutes of consoling the patient, she was in tears because no one had ever really talked to her in this detail and gotten to the root of her problem. At the end of the visit, the patient had mentioned she was Catholic. So Dr. Lacaw said, well, I can do a prayer with you if that's okay. And everyone in the room was okay with it. So he went ahead and led a prayer. By the end of that prayer, not only was the patient in tears, but Dr. Lacaw was as well. And honestly, I was too. It was a really moving encounter, and it showed me the power of the free clinic and service in general. It was so moving that I went ahead and took a more involved role in the clinic. I became the M1 representative working with Lacie, and we planned a 5K fundraiser that unfortunately couldn't happen due to COVID-19. Later that year, I became the M2 outreach president. So outreach is our fundraising arm of the clinic. Traditionally, we put together Casino Night. And for those of you who don't know, Casino Night is an awesome event. We bring together the community, the faculty, the staff, and of course the students to raise money for the clinic. But in 2020, there was COVID, so we couldn't do that, obviously. So again, Lacie had an awesome idea to put together a Giving Tuesday event. So for those of you who don't know, Giving Tuesday is an awesome event that happens the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. It harnesses the power of social media and the holiday season to really create funding from a variety of sources online. We were able to use Lacie's help and the help of Craig Einan, our director of alumni relations, to have an awesome fundraiser that net over $20,000, which was double our previous record with Casino Night. It was truly amazing. After that experience, I went ahead and became the M3 CEO of the clinic. And through this role, I've had a lot of opportunities, one of which is to do the Giving Tuesday campaign again. And this year we net over $40,000, once again, doubling our previous record-breaking goal. With all this funding and my new position, we've been able to move into a dedicated clinic space. We used to be sharing a space with Summa Health that was awesome, but now we have our own space on the second floor of NEOMED. And that allows us to see more patients per week and also bring in more students, more faculty, and just generally provide more care. It's been an awesome experience. Additionally, as a CEO, I've had the awesome experience to work with faculty and staff I wouldn't have had to before. For example, the financial staff, marketing and communications, and honestly, I feel like I've gotten a masterclass in health administration. Taken together, I feel confident that these time management skills and leadership skills will translate into residency. And I have an interest now in pursuing health administration and leadership well past my career in residency. I know these opportunities wouldn't have been possible without the amazing support here at NEOMED. And I think it goes to show how amazing this transformational leadership that Lacie is putting together, it really is for our students. Now, before I close, I want to circle back to that patient I talked about in the beginning. That patient is still a regular member of our clinic, and today she no longer has those panic attacks. She's gotten behavioral health support from us and other people in the community. And honestly, I think it really goes a lot to show what we can do when we put our faculty, staff, and students together and work to serve our community and our patients. So thank you for your time, and I'm excited to take any questions you have about the free clinic or my role in leadership in general. Thanks.
Any questions for Sanjay? If you have interest in working with the free clinic, please reach out to Sanjay, Dr. Boltry as well. Any of us can get you connected.
Awesome. Thank you, Lacie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next, I'd like to bring up Dr. Rachel Bracken, who is working in conjunction with Dr. Rebecca Fishbein, who is diligently in a curriculum retreat, but they let Dr. Bracken out for a few minutes to share with you her experience and the work that she's doing to better prepare our students for working with patients with disabilities. Please.
Thank you, Lacie. All right, so Lacie and Sam asked me to tell you a story. So this is a story about how random, unplanned, seemingly small events can change one's research trajectory. Newton had that apple, and for me, I got assigned a disability and health humanities lecture my first year here at NEOMED. This came as a little bit of a surprise because my background is in American literary studies as it intersects with histories of medicine and public health. And while it certainly intersects or overlaps with disability studies, particularly in its theoretical engagement with biopolitics and embodiment, I hadn't been formally trained in disability studies when I took this on. So this started a flurry of reading in disability studies, health humanities, medical education to say, hey, what is it that med students need to know about working with patients with disabilities? Not from necessarily a clinical perspective, but from a humanistic, psychosocial perspective. This may not have been my finest teaching ever, but as luck would have it, the theme of the Project Narrative Summer Institute down at Ohio State University, my second year here at NEOMED, was narrative medicine and disability studies. It was perfect. And I applied and received funding through the Education Innovation Award to be able to attend the Project Narrative Summer Institute. And that experience was truly transformative for me to get to learn from and with experts in disability studies and narrative medicine and all the different health humanities fields that intersects with. They were anthropologists, literary studies folks, historians. It was really great. And this also allowed me, to continue reading and refining in terms of disability studies, health professions, education, and medical humanities. And what I found have been three kind of main takeaways. The first one, it's not the easiest to hear, but historically, medical and health professions education has done a really, really poor job in preparing students to treat patients with disabilities. This is kind of the heart of the critique that were published in the 1990s, but it wasn't until 2015 that the AAMC actually expanded the definition of cultural competency to include disability. And around the time that they did this expansion, there were a number of scoping reviews that were done to say, okay, so how are we teaching students to provide care to folks with disabilities? And what they found really is it's kind of a hodgepodge. There isn't a set of disability competencies, and there isn't a settled standardized curriculum for teaching disability to health professions students. And, even more recently came out December, early January of this year, research published in Health Affairs from a team out at Harvard found, well, physicians, medical providers, healthcare professionals, they self-report. We don't feel very comfortable. We don't feel very prepared to provide care to folks with disabilities. That means the sort of skills and knowledge necessary. That means legal knowledge of the ADA and what they are legally required to provide in terms of care or access to care, but also some attitudinal issues. This is research that shows some deep-seated implicit ableism within health professionals. And one line of research in this that has been ongoing and reproduced a number of times is that most healthcare professionals tend to think that life with a disabling condition is far worse than disabled folks say, and that the general population will say. So we've got some work. This is not a NEOMED problem. This is a health professions problem. The other two findings are a little bit more optimistic. First, I was happy to find that my instincts were right for that first lesson, and that starting out by decentering a medical model of disability, introducing other explanatory paradigms that come from disability studies, a social model of disability, an embodied model of disability, it's really a great place to start in terms of training medical and healthcare professionals to be able to treat competently, compassionately folks with disabilities. The third thing is that other schools have demonstrated that simulated patient cases is actually a really powerful way to do this work as well around disability education. And we don't do that at NEOMED yet. So working with the amazing Dr. Rebecca Fishbein in Family and Community Medicine, we put together an application for strategic initiative funding that we were really happy to get. And now with IRB approval in hand, we are ready to start recruiting for focus groups within the next couple of weeks. Our project is to use two different sets of focus group populations. One, we're going to be reaching out to recent NEOMED College of Medicine and Pharmacy graduates to say, hey, what did you learn about disability? Was it enough? Where are the gaps? What do you need to know to be able to provide care to your patients? And we're also going to be reaching out to Ohio-based disability community organizations to conduct focus groups with disabled folks, because we're following that disability activist mantra, nothing about us without us. So we want to hear from our community. We want to know, how can we do better to serve you? So if you had told me 4 years ago that this is the kind of research I would be doing, I would have told you no way. That doesn't sound like what I do. Where are the novels? Where's Henry James? But I'm really, really excited to be doing this work. I'm very excited for this opportunity to engage with the community that NEOMED serves, to make sure that these key stakeholders have a voice in determining what our educational curricula is going to look like, so that we are training healthcare professionals that are ready to serve that community. But beyond that, excited to transform not just education here at NEOMED as it relates to disability, but knowing that the cases that we will develop out of this focus group data that will allow us to then do this interprofessional, we're going to use college and pharmacy students, interprofessional simulated patient counters in the Wasson Center, that's something that we can ship out that can be adapted and integrated into other medical and health professions curricula at other schools, so we can transform more broadly nationally, right, the way that we are training students to work with patients with disabilities.
Any questions for Dr. Bracken? Please reach out to her if you do or have some ideas for collaboration. That's really exciting and innovative and transformational work. And we're really excited to support it through SIF and to be a part of it here in NEOMED. Talking about leadership in NEOMED, although everything that we do and have shown you so far is really showcasing our amazing leaders. Leadership also includes our high impact research that we're doing in our research focus areas. And so we've asked Dr. Welton and Dr. Bonfine, both who happen to be from the Department of Psychiatry here and representing our Center for Integrated Primary and Mental Health Care. We've asked them to talk about the way that they've reimagined our new health services research focus area.
Thank you. I think most people have seen me, but I'm Randy Welton from the Department of Psychiatry. And the theme of our talk really is, what do you do when good is no longer good enough? How do you move from good to a little bit better? So historically, the Department of Psychiatry has had a research focus area. It's community-based mental health research. It looks at folks who have severe and persistent mental illness and their interaction with society. So where do they live? How do they get care? And all too frequently, unfortunately, how do they interact with the criminal justice system? So that has really been the theme of the community-based mental health research. But over the last couple of years, we've had tremendous amounts of change here within the university. We've had changes within our own department. We've had changes in personnel. I came on board about a year and a half ago. We've had a number of our very respected, very senior folks who have retired or moved on to other opportunities. So we had a shifting of personnel, but we've also had a shifting of approaches and themes within the university. We had the university's strategic plan, which encouraged us to do more translational research and more health services research. It also encouraged us to look at our partners in the community. How are we impacting care that they provide? And as we looked at community-based mental health research, that was good, but it wasn't doing those things very much. We also looked at the Center for Integrated Primary and Mental Health Care and its strategic plan, and the College of Medicine and its new strategic plan. And all of those encouraged us to collaborate more with researchers within the college. And again, we had a nice research focus area that was meaningful, that was important, but we weren't interacting with a lot of the other departments. So there were a dozen other researchers, for example, in the Department of Family and Community Medicine, that we really couldn't involve in the research we were doing because it was so specific. And so what we wanted to do is to take a look at that research focus area. It was a good one. It was important. People with severe and persistent mental illness are some of the most vulnerable folks that you will ever encounter. But is that the best we could do? Could we do something that engaged more people, interacted more with the other departments, and allowed us to collaborate with our strategic partners downtown to help promote better practices in medicine? And so what I did is I turned it over to someone else smarter and better equipped than I to do that. And I said, Dr. Bonfine, why don't you and the other researchers get together and come up with a better research focus area? And so to talk about what they came up with, I will turn it over to Dr. Bonfine.
Thank you. Yes. So I am here representing a group of faculty who are engaged in health services research. So you may be wondering, what is health services research? Health services research is the study of how organizations, social structural factors, policies, technologies, all influence access to care and quality of care. Our faculty are also engaged in research and are interested in understanding how social factors and personal behaviors influence individual level and population level physical and mental health outcomes. Our research focus area, health services research focus area, includes a number of different domains. This is a rather broad area of social and behavioral research that's going on. Our research domains include research on social determinants of health, including those social factors that influence health and well-being. Translational research, meaning the translation of clinical research findings and the implementation of those findings into everyday practice and into health decision-making that happens among individuals and practitioners. We're also including population health research, which here at NEOMED, there are some exciting opportunities for data analytics expansion, which are really exciting, and we're happy about that. Our faculty are engaged in research on healthcare workforce and medical education questions, health service delivery, and research on the integration of primary and mental health care. So there are a lot of really cool questions that are happening, a lot of really good research that's going on among our faculty in the departments of psychiatry and family and community medicine. We're always looking for more partners, more research faculty to partner with, as well as clinical partners and community partners. So we're really excited about this new expansion of our research enterprise here at NEOMED. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Dr. Chris Boffman, who couldn't be here. She's in a curriculum meeting as well. We'd love to talk with you more about this. Thank you.
Thank you. And any basic questions? That was quick, but we wanted to let you know about our new health services research focus area and invite you if that sounds interesting. We have a dozen or so folks working, but there's always room for more because it's a pretty big tent. So thank you all very much. I'll turn it back over to Lacie.
Thank you so much. We're so excited to hear about the work that that comes out of that. To talk to us about developing our people here at NEOMED, one of our main strategic focus areas is developing our own people here so that we can deliver our product, if you will, our curricula, our development, our research to the best of our ability. So we have Dr. Richard Kasmer, who's our VPAA and Dean of the College of Pharmacy, also leads up our faculty enrichment and engagement. And Janelle Kolner, who is the Assistant Director of Faculty Support. And they're going to share with you the work that they're doing in reconstituting and reimagining FAME.
Thanks, Lacie. So when I say FAME, it's a concept and a program that actually many people are aware of. And actually people are aware that there's different versions of FAME. The one that we are going to be talking about today is going to be the FAME research track. It's actually been in existence here at NEOMED for many years. And actually we did some research a couple of weeks ago to look back to see how many people have actually taken the research track. The answer is to date, we've had about 57 people complete the program, and we looked into our clinical faculty, about 27, 28, maybe 30 or so are actually still with one of our clinical partners. So it's a known program. It's been around the university for quite some time. And unfortunately, a couple of years ago, it was actually just put on pause, and actually was just set to the side with a lot of other university things that have been going on. And my goal, my objective over the last 6 months or so was to revitalize, review, relaunch the FAME research track program for our clinical partners. At the end of the day, we submitted a proposal to the university probably about 5, maybe 6 months or so ago now. So I've been working on this project for quite some time to get some strategic initiative funding for the program. After a couple of rounds, actually, we were successful, and the university gave us about $84,000 to kind of get this up and running and relaunch it for the university as well as for our clinical partners. And actually, that's kind of where we are at this point in time. Right now, there's a couple of things that we're working on in terms of tasks that we're performing. Right now, we're actually reviewing the content of the curriculum. It's been about 15 or so years since we've done that, so we're going to take a few minutes to kind of refresh and review. Am I taking all your part? Okay, good. We're going to look to identify 2 champions from the university as well as one of our clinical partners to kind of lead that initiative. We're looking to have a basic science champion as well as a clinical champion. I'm really happy to say that we've already identified the basic science champion. It's going to be Dr. Steve Schmidt. So just when you thought Steve was about to retire, he's not going to at this point in time. But I think for Steve, this is probably one of his passion projects. It's an area he has a lot of interest in and something he certainly wants to do on a go-forward basis. We're going to look to identify a variety of different experts in the field to kind of come in and actually teach the program. Because the way we have this organized, it's going to be basically once a month for about one day a month for about a 9 or 10 month period of time to finish and start the program. We're going to look to identify a hybrid model of education. So we're going to do some in-class education. We're going to do some online stuff as well as some Zoom. We're going to look to identify amongst the consortium some research mentors who work with our students. As a piece of the puzzle, what they will do is throughout the entire project, they will start and actually develop a proposal. Not do the research while they're in the program, but actually design and develop the proposal so upon completion, they can carry it to completion. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are ongoing. One of the things you'll hear us talk about in the near future or see in the near future is we're going to do a Qualtrics survey, send it out to the NEOMED community as well as to our clinical partners to see how you would like us to deliver this, because there's a lot of different mediums and methods by which we can do it. So we're going to go out and, in essence, kind of get voice of customer to figure out the best method of delivery. I said it's going to be a one day a month, but it could be one day. It could be an evening and a Saturday. We're going to talk to our customers to see how they want that to be delivered. It's a ton of work, but I think it's a lot of fun work at the end of the day to get us to where we need to be. What we're going to be doing is the intended target for FAME research is really at the end of the day, it's going to be our clinical partners. So we're going to be taking it out to, for instance, the folks at Summa Health, the folks at Akron Children's, and other partners into the future. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, Steve and I met with Dr. Cindy Kelly, as well as a GMET group at Summa Health to, in essence, kind of launch it, talk about it, and help determine next steps in terms of where we go and what we do. I think at the end of the day, it's a really cool project, and I'm really pleased to be leading this into the future to get it back up and running, because I think it plays a very important role. One of the pieces of the puzzle you may not think about that I just want to just take a moment to mention is, the university is just launching a new journal, correct? The Journal of Medical Sciences at NEOMED. And I just throw that out there because it's being led by Trinity Sampson and Fayez Safadi. But I think if you look at the whole package, I think it's kind of nice because you would be able to take the FAME research track, develop a proposal, complete your proposal, and then publish your results in the NEOMED journal. I think it's the complete package. So let me just stop there and hand over the microphone to Janelle.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kasmar. And I think it's very important as we look to the future of the FAME program to also look at the history of the FAME program and what it means to the NEOMED community. So the FAME program is actually the Fellowship in Academic Medicine. It started here in NEOMED and in the year of 1990 as an initiative of the Department of Family and Community Medicine as a faculty development program for primary care physicians. And the whole impetus of the program was to develop teaching, research, and leadership skills in residency program faculty. So over the years, the program has evolved a bit as NEO-UConn became NEOMED, and it moved to include faculty members from College of Medicine, College of Pharmacy, as well as many clinicians from our affiliated partner sites from throughout the region and far beyond. In the last 3 decades of FAME, the teaching track has been continuously hosted each year without fail. At this point, we have over 217 graduates of the FAME teaching track. And as we move on and have an opportunity now to reignite the FAME research track through the strategic initiative funding, I think we're going to get back to that full development phase of our faculty here at the NEOMED campus, as well as our affiliated clinical partners. One thing to know is that many of our faculty and staff here at the NEOMED campus, as well as from throughout the region, have completed 1, if not more tracks of the FAME program. So I'm really excited to see the research track come back. Thank you.
Any questions? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So while I am so thrilled to share and showcase the work being done by the folks who've just presented, each and every one of you in this room and in online are contributing to creating transformational leaders in the jobs that you do every day. And I just want to thank you. And I look very forward to having you folks up here very soon to feature the work that you're doing. So watch for us coming to your department meetings or your division meetings. Check out our progress online on our dashboard. Go ahead and click down through the initiatives. There's all kinds of visuals, and you can see our progress as we continue to drive forward, meeting our KPIs, and our metrics are all beautifully displayed. So thank you for the team that has helped to push that forward. And again, anything from Dr. Landro? All right, that's all we have. Thank you for enjoying this program and the work that we've done to date.